In today's session of Visual JForex, we will get familiar with the indicator named MinMax. This is an indicator based on the mathematical modeling in which we take into account the recent minimum and the maximum values. We can use this indicator to figure out the breakouts after crucial levels. We can take into consideration prior swing highs, swing lows, and then by customizing the indicator to the time frame which we are using, we can use this for trade setups. So we will see how we can use this indicator on the Visual JForex platform. So let's go there. There is an Visual JForex platform board developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA, so that we can automate our trading setup and build the efficient working algorithm to make our trading profitable. Here the start point can be any of the three. For example, in today's session we will choose on tick as our start point. Now coming to the min-max indicator, we will also plot it on the chart so that it will be easier for you to understand its functions and how we can utilize this indicator to build the system. All you have to do is add this indicator, and the default value right now is 24. Now when I said 24 is the look back period here, not look back, 24 is the time period here. So for the last 24 hours we will be taking into consideration the closing price, opening price, the high price and the low price, and since this indicator is taking into account the minimum of the low price, we have this minimum value for last 24 hours at 1.1874. Sorry, that is maxima. I have, and the minima is 1.1754, and maxima here is being calculated on the closing basis. So the maxima is at 1.18747. This is the highest value in last 24 hours, and this is the lowest value in last 24 hours. We can change this time period to the one to whichever suits our purpose. We can always edit it. So if we want to extend the time period, we can simply change the value here of the time period, and we will have the different values here. Now we have these values covering almost 2 days, as we are taking into account the 48 hours price action. Now if we want to edit it further, we can change this to take into account the closing price, open price, high price, low price. Suppose if we make it close price, you will see that here we are now looking at the minimum values on the closing basis and the maximum values also on the closing basis. Similarly, we can take the minimum maximas of the high values, minimum maximas of the low values, and minimum maximas of the open price. So all four options are there, and basically we can use this indicator to figure out the breakouts here, and as I will try to explain to you. Now here we had this consolidation going on, and for almost if we count this time, for example, this is 7 GMT of 21st August, and prior minimum was made on 14 GMT of 20th August. So we had this time of around more than 15 hours where there was no new minimum values were made, no new low was made, and we had this instrument in consolidation phase, some retracement, and then again the selling pressure come back, and we had a break on the downside, and then it continued for a while until it stopped closer to this 1.176 level, and now we have this rebound happening. So this way What we can do, we can take multiple blocks on the Visual JForex board. We can customize them to take into consideration the closing values or the low values, whichever way we want. We can choose the applied price. So here is the applied price setting. All you have to do is choose as per your requirement of the particular setup: median price, typical price, the weighted close price, time, and the volume. We can do this customization as per our need. And then this is crucial here. We have to also be mindful of the difference being generated in values because of the upper side difference. If it's a bid, we will have the spread being added to get the ask price. So the difference is there, the spread between the ask and the bid. So we have to be careful to make sure that if we are doing the comparison between two different minimum values, or for example the maximum values of different look back period, then we have to have the same offer side, either bid or on the ask side. Now we can customize this to put in the conditions that for say for last 24 hours there was no break on the downside or on the upside. And suppose if we are looking for a break on the upside, what we can do is we can put in this condition, as I said, say the last hour's closing value should be equal to or less than the closing value 24 hours back. That will mean that in 24 hours there has been no significant upward movement, and rather the instrument has been in a consolidation phase. And as soon as the last hour's closing value is above the prior 24 hours value, we will have the trade initiated. In that manner we can cash the break on the upside. As soon as there is a break on the upside, our trade will initiate. And similarly on the lower side as well, we can define this setup on the lower side as well, that the trade should be initiated as soon as we have a fresh low being formed for last 24 hours. The prior value is being violated and we have new minima taking place, and the trade should be initiated. And at that point in time, new sell trade will happen. Mostly people do it that way, that fresh breakouts, they go with the trend, and if the breakout is on the higher side we can buy, and if the breakout is on the lower side we can sell. Inversely, some of the setups can also be developed when there has been the overbought or oversold movement, and after extended one-way direction, if we feel that after due consolidation there is a probability of retracement happening. In conjunction with the other indicators, we can develop a system. After due consolidation, we can put in the condition that if we are looking for trades, contra trades in which we are trading against the trend, so in such scenarios we can put in the condition that no new low is being formed for at least 24 hours, or whatever time frame suits your purpose. It can be 48 hours, it can be 100 hours, so that's not an issue here. We can always customize this indicator, this tool, to our advantage. So that way we can do that. So we can also put in this condition that the current minimum or the last hour's minimum value should be equal to or greater than the minimum value for whatever time frame we are looking at. That should be the look back period. And that means that the selling pressure has subsided now, consolidation is going on, and the retracement is kind of probable. So in such scenarios also we can go for the trading opportunities. So there are many ways we can use this indicator. This is fairly easy to use and customize, and also, as I said, it's also pretty easy to understand. We are only taking into account the mathematical minima and the maxima values. Now to customize it on the Visual JForex board so that we can build an automated setup, all we have to do is define these input parameters. The default instrument should be the instrument of your choice on which you want to develop the algorithm. If you want to use Euro USD, you can do that. If you want to change it to take another instrument, well, you can do that as well. All you have to do is go in this drag down list and see what is the instrument you want to use, you want to develop the trading algorithm, so that you choose. For the today's session, we keep the euro USD as it is, as I have explained to you the chart based on the euro USD, so it will be easier that way. Then coming to the time period, as I said, can be, as I have said in the prior sessions as well, it can be anything ranging from 10 seconds to the monthly, and here you have to choose whatever is as per your need. Suppose if you are trading for scalping opportunities on the shorter time frame, breakouts, breakdown, then all you have to use is these lower time frame minimum maximum values of say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you will have those small trading opportunities being spotted as soon as they emerge, because there is an automatic setup and it will be keeping a watch on the market conditions day in day out, so it won't miss anything. Shift is the look back period. If it is 0, then that means the current hours, current times, these output values will be taken into account, the minimum and the maximum. And if we are using the shift, say for prior hours, then we have to change this value. If we want to go back 5 hours in time, then we have to use 5 hours. Here we have to use hourly time frame here, and then say shift at 5, then we will have the value 5 hours back. Time period is 30. Time period, depending on the requirement. Here for this explanation I had used 48. We can also use it and change this to 48 anytime. So if you want to change this, you have to just change the value and you will have the different time period. If you want to use 10 seconds, you can do that. If you want to use a different value, you can do that as well. So now we have changed it to hourly. Then you get this minima and the maxima for of last 48 hours, as we have time period at 48 and the period is of 1 hour. So we have the minima and the maxima for the last 48 hours, and those values can be utilized for various purposes. And if you want to do the comparison between how the price action is behaving, then all you have to do is bring in another min-max indicator block and do this analysis, the comparison, by customizing the input parameters and only keeping this shift value different, so that we can compare the values across the time frame with the current value and the prior values. So that's the way we can use this indicator. I hope you have been able to understand and you will be able to build on this explanation and build your own algorithmic trading setups. So that's it for the day. I will be back tomorrow. Have a fabulous day ahead. Goodbye. Thank you for joining in.